Hey guys, it's Sarah here from Misadventure Pants. How you doing? I'm here to chat with you tonight about my 3 top tips for climbing Mount Rainier and answer any questions you might have about it. I'll give it a minute just to see who jumps on here. I hope everybody had an awesome weekend. If you're on here, chat to me. Tell me what you're doing this weekend. Did you have fun? I know it wasn't the greatest weekend in Colorado. We had lots of storms, I hear. It was kind of funny. Yesterday when we flew back, we left from Seattle, which was sunny and gorgeous, and apparently Seattle's never like that for weeks at a time, but it's been sunny there for a couple of weeks. And we flew back to Denver and it was just raining and dreary, and I said to my friend, it's like we left Denver and flew to Seattle, back. It's all reversed. But it's actually looking a little bit nicer today. Hopefully this weekend will be a little bit better. Hey, Jenna! Jenna did un compadre in handies this weekend. That's a couple of 14ers in the San Juans. Did you have fun? I saw your pictures. It looked awesome. Yeah, but that's quite an accomplishment, actually. 2 in 1 weekend, and it's quite a far drive, so well done. Well, I'm going to jump right into talking about Mount Rainier because it's 7 o'clock. And Jenna says, it was great. That's so awesome. I'm so excited for you. Getting back into it. Do you have any more 14ers planned? She'll comment and tell me, but go ahead and comment, and I'm going to jump right into my chat here. So Mount Rainier, it's kind of a funny thing to climb Mount Rainier when you're from Colorado, because we make a big deal out of it. We're like, oh, this is a high altitude summit, but really it's only 14,410 feet tall, which is obviously tall, but it's also not much taller than the things we climb here in Colorado. But what makes it just an absolutely different kind of mountain is it's got a big glacier sitting right on top of it. It's actually the most glaciated peak in the lower 48 states, and this whole thing is just covered with ice. Basically, you climb through about 8,000 feet of nothing but snow and ice to get to the top, and it's just really amazing to look at. But the glaciation makes a big difference. You're traveling mostly on snow. You are at a certain point on the peak, about halfway up, you start to see these crevasses, which are cracks in the ice as the ice is flowing over. Like convexities or just, lumps in the ground. It's cracking and breaking, and it's making these huge cracks that a house could fall into in some cases. It's just really amazing and awe-inspiring to look at. And obviously, climbers could fall in there too. So that's why you have to actually travel on a rope team on Mount Rainier for the second above about 5,000–6,000 feet, or maybe a little bit higher than that. I'd say about 7,000 feet on the route we were on. Everyone is pretty much roped up. And you stay roped up all the time unless you're in camp, and then when you're in camp you actually have to take a probe and feel around to make sure there's no hidden crevasses under where you're going to put your tent. So that's pretty exciting. And the other thing that's really different about this mountain is in Colorado we do climb 14ers, but we usually start from maybe 9,000 or 10,000 feet, and in Washington State you start from 4,000 feet. So it's 10,000 feet to get up to the top, and for about half of it, going up to Camp Sherman on the Emmons Glacier route that we climbed, you have a full pack that weighs 40 pounds and you're snow climbing up a snowfield in a glacier. So it's pretty exciting stuff. It's a little bit different than climbing the 14ers here. So a lot of people have just asked questions about what it's like, how do you prepare. I know a lot of people get kind of excited about this mountain and want to climb it, and you definitely should because it's really, really cool. And just for the sake of brevity, I'm going to give you my top 3 tips, things I had kind of wish I had done differently or known before I went to climb the Emmons route last weekend. So number 1 is don't get too sucked in by the numbers. I know when I saw I was going to have to climb 10,000 feet in come back down 10,000 feet in 3 days, and half of that's with a big pack. I sort of flipped out and really, did a lot of things wrong with my training. I definitely think I trained too hard in many ways. I'd have been better off doing some lower intensity training, and it wouldn't have beat my body up so bad. But here's the thing, there's nothing, like really nothing you can do that's going to let you prepare for a 10,000 foot climb. I mean, there's nothing you can do where you are. I think we all want to be perfect and find that magic thing, especially when we're working so hard for something and you have to train for a long time. But I guess it's kind of like, I would think about it as kind of like running a marathon. Hey Ted, welcome. I would think about your training for Rainier as running a marathon. So if you've ever run one, marathon runners, they do not usually run 26 miles during their training period. Maybe they run 20 miles or 22 miles, maybe 23 miles, but 26, they never do it until race day. Just because it beats your body up too much and you don't really need to do it. So you kind of have to go into that race with faith and, thinking I can run 26 miles, even though I've never done it before. So it's kind of like that with Rainier, with climbing 10,000 feet. You're never going to have done it, but you got to have faith that you can do it. And I mean, to put it in perspective, you can do it even if everything doesn't go perfect. I know in our group of 7 people, we had people, with colds, people who weren't sleeping well. On the first day of our trip, I actually had a stomach bug. I think I got a little bit of food poisoning. And like all of us, kind of just muddled through and step by step, and suddenly you're on the top, and it's pretty amazing. So don't despair if everything doesn't go well. And like I mentioned, I definitely made a lot of mistakes training, and you don't have to be perfect to do this. You absolutely don't. You just gotta have some heart, you gotta have some faith, and you're gonna go step by step up 10,000 feet very slowly. So that's number 1. Like, don't let the numbers freak you out. Have some faith. Number 2, I would say, number 2 thing I really wish I would have done more of is practice snow travel. One thing I did with my training was really sort of freak out and want to just hike around a lot with a 40-pound pack, do like huge peaks like Parnassus and Columbia with heavy stuff on my back. And I don't know that that's really the best. I mean, that's a good strategy. I think you should do some of that. You should definitely train with some weights. But I also wish I had used my time to really work on techniques for walking on snow, because what happened, we got up for summit day. It's pretty cold out. You're leaving at midnight, so the snow is frozen. And we start walking up our first, like 30-degree slope, which is pretty much what it is on Rainier. It's like moderate slopes all the way to the top. And I'm walking straight up it with my feet pointed uphill in my crampons, and I say to the trip leader who's on the rope in front of me, "This is really hard. I don't know if I can do this." And he's like, "Well, are you walking straight up it, Sarah?" And I said, "Yes." And he's like, "Well, why don't you try, turn to the side and sidestep, do your French technique. You can also do your American technique where one foot is forward and one foot is sideways, and you can walk up like that, and then you switch feet when you get tired." So I really wish, and as soon as I started doing that, it was just night and day. I was much more comfortable. My legs weren't blowing out like on the first leg of the journey, and was able to get all the way to the top, even though, my legs did get kind of tired no matter what I did. And then the other thing I wish I would have done is practice going down snow, especially snow that's a little bit hard and crunchy. I had not done much of that. We had gone down one couloir that was very soft. So when we turned around at the top of Rainier to walk down, I could have had like about 10 minutes of flipping out. I was like, I feel like I'm gonna fall. I feel like I need to go slow. This is scaring me. And I was on the rope with one of my instructors, and he was great, gave me some tips. And within about 10 minutes, I kind of calmed down and was able to walk down. But yeah, I wish I had practiced going down more so that, I could have avoided those and thought of, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get down from up here. They're just gonna have to leave me up here because I'm too scared to walk down like a crunchy snow slope with like 30-40 degrees. So, you know, if you are in Colorado getting ready to go to Rainier, make sure you know, practice on snow, practice all your different techniques, practice going up, practice going down. And some, you know, you may be watching this, you may be interested, you don't have to, you know, live where there's mountains to train for Rainier. Lots of people come from like Iowa and Florida and do it very successfully. But, you know, as you're climbing on the first day, you know, if you're with a guide or you're with someone more experienced, definitely talk to them about your foot technique, get some feedback, practice some different things so that you can be ready for the summit day, because it's just a couple of, I think it's about 7 hours for us of just going up, 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 basically like climbing a shallow couloir in Colorado. So snow travel was number 2, and number 3 tip, prepare for extreme heat and extreme cold. I just can't even describe what the weather was like on this thing. It was kind of funny. We actually had very warm conditions, so a lot of the times we were pretty hot. Like, it can get very hot on the snow when you're climbing, and the sun is just beating down in the middle of the day. So not only is it hot, you are also, like, your skin's very vulnerable because of all the reflection from the sun. That can be like really intense radiation that can give you quite a bad sunburn. So some tips for that, for the heat. And we mostly experienced the heat on the first day, but also descending Rainier on summit day. It got quite hot towards the bottom. We were all just dying and stopping and taking off layers. So some tips for heat, definitely sun hat. This is my new sun hat I got in Colorado. Ted calls it the solar cooker. I think you must have experienced this, Ted. It does feel like you're in a cooker. It's pretty awful. So sun hat is great. You can even get sun hat with sun shields that go around your neck. That might be a good idea. I actually got sunscreen alone does not protect me on that kind of thing. I actually got like a UV buff that I could like pull out over my face, and I took it off a few times just because it makes me so claustrophobic. Hey Jen! Oh my gosh! It's good to see you, Jen Knock. Jen Knock, if you guys don't know, is my roommate from college. She is like one of my oldest friends that now lives in Rhode Island, and it's very sad I don't get to see her as much as I would like to. So yeah, a UV buff that you can pull over your face is really great. You can take it off if it's making you claustrophobic, but then try to keep it on just as much as you can. Any moments or minutes or seconds that your face is out of the sun is going to feel really good in this situation. We had someone on our trip that climbed in a black base layer, and that was really, I wouldn't recommend it. Make sure your base layer is a light color. A couple people on our team had long underwear or sun protection shirts that were intended for fly fishing, which is kind of similar, right? Because you're standing in the river, which is also very reflective. So that might be something to look into. They said it's much cheaper than getting like a Patagonia fancy base layer or a Smart Wool fancy base layer. And the fly fishermen also have like almost like balaclavas that you can put over your whole face that are light colored. So light colored clothing is really great. Definitely recommend it. So that's the heat, and then so you're in the heat a lot of the time cooking, and then when you get to the top, when we left at midnight, when we left our camp for summit day, it was quite cold. When we got up, I was shivering when we started walking up. It was pretty cold until the sun came up at about 5. And then it was warm briefly for a couple hours, and then on the top it was freaking freezing and windy again. And we actually had a very warm day for our climb. Our instructor that was with us had actually been up there last July, on July 6th, he said. And at that time, the top of the mountain was actually in something called a lenticular cloud. It's kind of like a cloud that looks like a flying saucer that forms whenever it's windy on top of the mountain. And he said that was the coldest he had ever been. He was wearing like 8,000 meter mittens that were huge and puffy and just, you know, couldn't even keep warm up there then. So you never know what kind of weather you're going to get up there. So some tips for cold. You have to kind of have both, right? And be prepared for both, no matter what the weather forecast is, because the mountain makes its own weather. If the weather forecast is pretty good, even if it's good, take a couple of puffies. I took 2 down puffy jackets up there, and a couple of the girls I was with, they get cold very easily, actually took down parkas, which weigh a bit more, but they'll keep you very, very warm. It's basically like hiking in your sleeping bag. The oh shit mitts, those giant like puffy down mittens that they make for people who are climbing above 8,000 feet. It's not overkill to take those up. They're kind of expensive, but if you're just gonna give this a try, I would borrow them from somebody. Definitely really, really warm. Hand warmers, the chemical hand warmers are awesome. You can put them in your boots, you can put them in your pockets, you can put them in your gloves, and they're just gonna save your fingers and toes in those situations where you just don't have enough layers. And then boots were another thing that were really interesting to me. I actually went up in my single boots. I didn't plan on doing that. I actually had tried to get double boots, and I had this nightmare with a company on eBay where, I ordered boots and they, didn't have them and waited a long time to tell me, sent me my money back. I tried to get over boots, which might be another solution for people. They're a little bit less expensive. It's a piece that goes over your single boot, and you can wear it with your crampon to keep it warm. It's basically made of neoprene. Those didn't fit with my crampon, so I just sent them back. So that was like 2 days before I left, and I'm like, I give up. I'm gonna go in my single boots. And single boots were okay because we had very warm weather, but a few times my toes were pretty cold. I think if it had been really cold up there, my feet would have been like so miserable, and it could have been dangerous. So definitely recommend double boots or over boots if you're going up there. The single leather boots, the Nepal Evo GTX, unless you got like crazy warm feet and just never get cold, probably not good enough for this sort of thing. So those are my 3 Rainier tips. Definitely prepare for hot and cold, practice your snow travel, and don't let the numbers intimidate you. I think that's a really big one. You got this if you're reasonably well trained and know your glacier travel skills and your rescue skills. You can do this. It's really fun, and I definitely recommend you do it if you want to do it. So that's all my tips. Any questions before I sign off here? You can just type them in the comment section. I'm really bad at signing off and then seeing the questions, so I'll wait for just a couple of minutes. Yeah. I've noticed when I do these videos, you notice like so many funny things about yourself, and I've noticed that I sway in my chair just all the time, and I hope I don't do that in real life when I'm talking to people. I probably do though. Kind of a jumpy, nervous little person. Always moving. Well, cool. Well, I don't see any questions, so but feel free to pop on Facebook. You guys kind of know where I live, and it's been great talking to you, Jenna, Ted, Jen. Jen says, "Oh, you're so sweet. Oh my gosh, I'm not half as awesome as you, dude." If you don't know Jen Knock, you're just, she does it all. She makes beer, she sails boats from the Bahamas to Maine to Rhode Island. I'm just in awe. She learns like something new and crazy like every couple of years, and I'm like, what's next for Jen? So I don't know, I'm clearly not learning to be as awesome as you, so. Well guys, it's been great talking to you. Oh my gosh, it's Evan! That's Jen's boyfriend. Hey, Evan. Evan, you got here just in time for me to sign off. That's so funny. I miss you guys so much, by the way. I really was hoping to come to... She was so born awesome. I was really hoping to come to Rhode Island this year. It's been... I'll have to talk to you guys and tell you a little bit about what's going on. It's been a bit of a crazy summer, so I'm not sure it's going to happen this year, but soon, very soon. I miss you both very much. Okay, well guys, I'm going to sign off. Have a wonderful evening, and I will catch you on the interwebs and wherever. You know where to find me. Okay, take care.